Being a big shot in the NFL was not enough for Pro Bowler Michael Bennett. As the defensive end for the Seattle Seahawks, he went to the Super Bowl, he's been to the Pro Bowl a couple of times, but when all the NFL players started taking a knee, and Michael Bennett was one of the first and most enthusiastic to get down on his knee to protest all the unbelievable amount of white racism in this country that's keeping so many black people down, especially cops, especially why cops are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. Well, okay, Michael Bennett's a clown, okay? He's a clown. He says all these words, he just strings them together, hopes that nobody notices they don't make any sense. But when you're a sports reporter, you don't really look an athlete in the eye and say, hey, everything you just said doesn't make sense, because her sports reporters are on a very thin and long leash. And if a reporter, as a reporter in the locker room, if a player decides he's not going to talk to you in the locker, during the games or halftime or whatever, they just made your job a lot more difficult. Editors don't like reporters who get difficult jobs. They like reporters who make their jobs easy. So anyway, there's Michael Bennett. And he's been he's telling us, while he's explaining to us how black people are relentless victims, he's the one going out and committing a whole bunch of real nasty business. Why don't we look at the latest one first? We'll have a cop from, I think, Houston explain it for us.
Wanted to talk a little bit about the arrest or the pending case that was just indictment is handed down on Mr. Michael Bennett, NFL player Michael Bennett. I'm going to walk you very quickly through the incident, how it occurred, our investigative actions, and then I'll open up the questions. On the day of the Super Bowl, at the end of the Super Bowl, as you all know, at the end of any Super Bowl, people try to get on the field, try to get on the field. Some people belong on the field, some people don't belong on the field. On that day, this is our Super Bowl here at NRG. Mr. Bennett forcibly opened the locked doors at the southwest corner of the NRG Budweiser tunnels, even though security stated he did not have access to the tunnels to get to the field. In an attempt to push his way and force his way into this field, again, Mr. Bennett forcibly opened locked doors. He pushed back one female who was 28 years of age, a white female was 28 years of age, and pushed back another male individual. Mr. Bennett then went up to a 66-year-old black female employee, again of the NRG, paraplegic, and pushed her. Mr. Bennett's assault on this individual actually caused injury. According to their medical records, a sprain of her shoulder. Mr. Bennett then continued to try to get through onto the field, at which time one of our officers, Officer Morgan from our East Side Division, who was actually working at the stadium providing security, who witnessed the incident, attempted to contact Mr. Bennett and actually tried to stop him and question him. Bennett disregarded Officer Morgan, said "fuck you," and walked past him on the field. Mr. Bennett also, after pushing the females, both the 28-year-old white female and the 66-year-old paraplegic black female, stated to them, "You all must know who I am, and I can own this MF motherfucker. I'm going onto the field whether you like it or not," and those are quotes. Again, Officer Morgan attempted to intervene and walk up. Officer Morgan then did an assessment based on the fact that he was a one-man unit. Mr. Bennett's much larger than he is. There's pandemonium, and quite frankly, he recognized Mr. Bennett as being the Michael Bennett who, as you all know, is here in Houston and is an NFL player. He knew that he had to keep eyes on that location. He did not feel that Mr. Bennett posed an additional threat to anyone by going onto the field, and he made a split-second decision to check on the women, especially the 66-year-old paraplegic that was knocked down.
With us, Michael Bennett, brother of Martellus Bennett, Seattle Seahawks. Good stuff, man.
Happy Black History Month.
There you go, Michael Bennett. He's fired up for his brother. Bill Dominique, back to you.
You know, this wasn't the first time we heard from Michael Bennett. When he started taking the knee, Michael Bennett was one of the great go-to guys in the league because he was the one most willing to explain that he doesn't really like cops. He doesn't really like the way black people are victims of cops, victims of white racism, keeping the brothers down all the time because he's a brother. He's not giving that up. He's one of the fellas. They're keeping him down too. Let's listen to a little bit of Mr. Michael Bennett pontificating on the whole white racism thing in between times when he's beating up old black ladies in wheelchairs.
And what specifically was the tipping point on Saturday for you that led you to this decision?
I think, like I said, I won't stay until I feel like everything's equal. I won't stay until everybody has justice. I won't stay until everybody has freedom. The things that America is built on. I think protesting the national anthem begins a conversation about the truth of America. I'm not protesting the flag. I'm actually trying to honor what we're supposed to be honoring, the freedom of America, the equality of America, the justice for all, and the liberty. Those are the things I'm trying to remind people that we all fought for, the forefathers. We said we would fight against terrorists, domestic and foreign. And right now there's a whole bunch of domestic terrorism, domestic hate going on between your race, the gender, all this stuff going on because of somebody's the skin and color. So I want to bring up those issues and create those conversations and get people off their butt and go out and try to act and fix the problem and go out and work with people of different race, different colors, different sex, different genders, whatever it is. Just go out and try to find out how to help instead of being a problem and sitting back and being silenced. Like I said, I think at this point, if you're silenced right now, you're being dishonest about the truth of what's going on, and we want to figure out how to get to the bottom of this. And I believe the protesting is the right thing to do for me and for what I feel is right. I think as a young black man growing up, I want to be able to inspire the youth, especially minority kids and kids all around the world, to, if you see something and you feel like you want to make a change, don't be afraid. Don't be fearful for what you think the truth is. And we were fighting for freedom and liberty and equality for all. And I think that's what I live by and what I believe.
I think last week I was just, with everything that's been going on the last couple of months, and especially after the last couple of days, seeing everything in Virginia, seeing what's going on out there, and earlier today in Seattle, I just wanted to be able to use my platform to be able to continue to speak on injustice. First of all, I want to make sure people understand I love the military. I love my father was in the military. I love hot dogs like any other American. I love football like any other American, but I don't love segregation. I don't love riots. I don't love oppression. I love gender slander, and I just want to see people have the equality that they deserve. And I want to be able to use this platform to continuously push the message of that, and keep journeying out and keep finding out how unselfish can we be as a society. How can we continuously love one another and understand that people are different, and just because they're different doesn't mean that you shouldn't like them. Just because they don't smell the way you smell, just because they don't eat what you eat, just because they don't pray to the same God you pray to, doesn't mean you should hate them. And whether it's Muslim, whether it's Buddhist, whether it's Christianity, wherever it is, I just want people to understand that no matter what, we in this thing together. And it's more about being a human being at this point.
Mike, what do you hope the end game is with the attention you get?
I hope that I can activate everybody to get off their hands and feet and go out to the communities and push helping each other, sit down with somebody that's the opposite sex, sit down with somebody that's the opposite race, different religion, understand that people are different, and go out and join the community and try to change your society, change what you're a part of. And if you don't like it, keep changing, and realize, let kids know that they got power. Just because you're an athlete and people say, hey, just because you're making money, you have this Nike endorsement, you have this endorsement, you're not a part of that society. At the end of the day, you are part of that society. No matter where I go, I'm still a black man, and I can't get away from that. I can't get away from the past transgressions of America, what's happened. But what I want to do to be a part of is the change of kids, the change of society, and continuously push that.
Mike, you saw that Colin Kaepernick is not working right now because of the supposed backlash of him not standing up for the national anthem. You've spoken out in favor of him. Do you think you're going to face any backlash?
Of course I'm going to face backlash. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than football. This is bigger than anything that we have any different. This is about people. This is about bringing opportunities to people, giving people equality. This is bigger than a sport. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really take your accolades with you, but what you can do is leave a legacy that you can continuously give kids to seize to be able to inspire. I mean, I don't look at myself as a role model. I look at myself as trying to inspire young children, young people of color, young people of different gender, or young people of different sex, whatever they are, to want to change their environment and continuously push whatever they think is right.
If you ever read the Griot or Root or any of the other black magazines or websites out there, you would know what Michael Bennett was just doing there. He was talking in the so-called inside voice. That's what the house slaves used to talk to when white people are around. But when white people aren't there, they talk in their outside voice, the truth about what they really think about white people. Now, Mr. Michael Bennett, the great scholar, has just written a book, and here he's talking in his outside voice, his authentic voice, his voice that he hopes is going to make him $1 gajillion when people start reading his book, listening to his book, as if every syllable were a little pearl worth $1 million. So here's the name of the book: Things That Make White People Uncomfortable. Now let's learn about who Mr. Michael Bennett is. Super Bowl champion and two-time Pro Bowler Michael Bennett is an outspoken proponent for social justice and a man without a censor. Have you ever heard of somebody being described as a man without a censor without them really meaning that he's just a person that says whatever they think and there's never any thought behind what they think? Yeah, that's what that means. One of the most scathingly humorous athletes on the planet, he is also a fearless activist, grassroots philanthropist, and organizer. He's a defensive end, has gained international recognition for his support for Black Lives Matter and women's rights. He gives all his money here, there, everywhere, and he's recently expanded into providing STEM programming in Africa, where the problem of racism is bad in America, but it's really bad in Africa because that's where black people are not allowed to learn science, technology, engineering, and math. I think that's what STEM stands for. So Michael Bennett, and I'd be very curious to see his college transcripts, is now preaching the benefits of education to the fellas of Africa. I don't know why he doesn't let all the people of Wakanda just handle that, since they're already about 1,000 years ahead of us, but we'll leave that for another day. And so Bennett, that's his thing, right? The black people are victims of white racism. Bennett was in Las Vegas not too long ago, and somebody in a casino, I think the way it ended up was they weren't really 100% sure if there ever was a shooting there. But during the shooting, they said to everybody, get down, get down, get down, stay down. Well, as soon as they said that, everybody was down for a second. Bennett takes off out of the casino. He ran from the cops as if he were the shooter. So they caught him, and later on, you'll see how cooperative he was here. But later on, when they caught him, you'll see that after they caught him, he was the first one to go screaming racism. So let's see what old Bennett's up to in this video.
So the highlighted here, you'll see Mr. Bennett appear in a crouched stance and proceed to the rear of the slot machines there. And we have two officers that are looking, trying to evaluate what's going on. Go ahead and stop.
Turn your head. Now. said we hear somebody shooting in there. Everyone's down. You're running.
I'm trying to get out, Mark.
Yeah, stop talking.
Yeah.
I understand, but you still understand how that looks, though.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not in under arrest. We're gonna get you out of here, okay? But we just have to make sure, because right now all we know is people are shooting in there is what we're hearing, and then you're running away. So we're making sure that's not you. Now come out. And if it's not you, we don't have time to be out here talking to you.
Your name, do you have an ID on you?
No, man. My name is Michael Bennett.
Okay.
Seattle Seahawks. Look it up.
Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
I imagine you're but if I can get a picture of him, if he's football, then...
Michael Bennett? I've heard of him.
You do recognize him?
Okay. I mean, believe you got all your citizens.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll send the strike team back downstairs.
Hey, it's unfortunate, but you have to do what you do, okay?
And we don't know if people are shooting at us, so when you're yelling at us, we just need to get you there fast. Sorry that happened, but might want to head the other way. You gotta go that way. This is all blocked off.
So that's Michael Bennett, social justice warrior. When he's not going around beating up little old lady, dropping an F-bomb on a cop, pushing little white girls aside on the way to get onto a place where he feels he is entitled to, but he is not. Because the only way you get on the only way you're entitled to be on that field during a Super Bowl, you have to play your way on that field. Now he didn't get to play his way on the field, but he felt like he was entitled to be there anyway. And now he's just been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, the weird thing about the Eagles might have the most blue-collar, cop-friendly audience in America, but they still love their Eagles, even though the Eagle players are constantly looking at their white audience and explaining to them that you guys are all a bunch of racists. You know that this year, during the Eagles season, successful season, they were listening to songs by Meek Mill, especially one called Dreams and Nightmares, where he goes into some detail about oral sex and killing people and selling drugs, you know, guns, money, drugs, bitches, and murder. It wasn't just a one-off thing. That's what the whole song's about. And we've done videos on this where you see the members of the Eagles on the field during the game and celebrating with that song. And I'm pretty sure not 1 in a million of those fans knows that they're celebrating to the song that glorifies this kind of ridiculous level of black criminality. I'm pretty sure that one guy in a million who does know, he's not going to say anything if he's a fan because, well, he just doesn't want to make the black kids angry.